it's a memoir, but to protect privacy, I have to use all the fake names, so all the names are fabricated. But those who know these people here, you know whom I'm talking about. Yeah, the names
you know who you are.
Yeah, the name of the place has changed. So this is written in the first person, and our hero in here, the famous Chinese surgeon, is Dr. Patrick Sito. So this is in the word and memory of Dr. Sito in a small town he called Miniville. Small town Miniville. And there are people here that I used to remember more. And there are a couple of our medical staff especially I choose to remember more. And I think it is appropriate if I read something. I wish Miss Virginia Carney is here, that I read a short paragraph about one of my friends, Dr. J.W. Carney. But I don't have to say his name because this is Dr. Patrick Zito. Speaking in the first person, and this is Dr. Patrick Zito's words. This short chapter is called There Really Are Angels. Now here Dr. Patrick Zito says, although I am an atheist, I don't believe in any supernaturals. Should I be asked if there were angels, I would definitely reply, there really are. I would further tell you that there are some among us in the indifference, cruelty, misery, and sorrow of practical life. This being among us are sources of hope, love, and comfort. They can be, and in fact they are, some of us in Miniville, and here in Miniville. The rural small town I spent practically all my career here. A place so unnoticeable that one has to look with effort just to find it on the map. I had the honor of getting acquainted with two such beings. K.W. Connolly, you know who that is? The preacher general surgeon with whom I enjoyed 16 years of semi-professional affiliation until he passed away, and his wife Virginia were two such characters. When I first met him during my initial visit to town for interview, this is Dr. Sito speaking. In his early 50s, he appeared to me a very old-fashioned, conservative, and not very sociable. Indeed he was, as I got to know him better, but he has a heart of gold. Although we worked very close together due to the fact that we were the only two active surgeons in town, in the whole county, we were never formal partners or associates. We both had our very separate and individual practices. However, we assisted each other and gave each other technical and moral support in our stressful work. When KW did that, what KW did that got my most respect and admiration was his dedication to his belief and his calling. Throughout his career, as I observed, he had offered so much of his time, energy, and money to the ministry. The 16 years I knew him, he had made at least 4 trips of medical missionary services to Bangladesh. Each time closing his office for a month, paid for the trip himself, and salaries of his own staff, while having no income for the time of absence. The last trip was especially touching. Just a year before, he had a heart attack, and he underwent a successful coronary artery bypass surgery. So his health wasn't really good, it was borderline. So when he decided to make another trip to Bangladesh for a month, his wife was kind of worried. I wish Miss Virginia was here, but she was here. Because every time when he went before, he always lost some weight and was sick when he returned. As he always worked in the villages, in the village clinic, in the most rural areas, and in some places there wasn't even running water, and he had to sleep on hard bamboo beds with no mattress. So one day, as he was assisting me in surgery, I said, well, JWI, or KW, I understand you're making another trip to Bangladesh next month, is that true? Yeah, I was just going to ask you to cover my patients for the month. I'd be glad to, but don't you think it might be too stressful for you? You know, we had worked close enough that I didn't think I was getting too personal. Well, Virginia thinks so too. I'll put it this way. I don't think I would have a whole lot more time to serve the Lord. This might be my last time. If I don't go, I might not have another chance. He went, and he came back having lost more weight, but happy and in good spirits. You remember the time he came back? You all remember. He said he had days of diarrhea when he was abroad, but he kept on working. Now here's how Dr. Zito feels about Dr. Connolly. KW and Virginia raised 3 children, we all know that. All grown and had successful careers. One a family practice doctor, one a local TV anchor, and another one a lawyer. So the couple sponsored youths from Bangladesh Bangladesh to come to the States through the Ministry for Education. They kept foster children at their home. After KW's death, Virginia continued such sponsorship. She referred to them as their children. Some of the Bangladeshi youths they helped raise years before were later married and settled down in this country with good careers after a good education. Virginia was in her 80s before I retired from my practice in Nineveh. She had been coming to my office for periodic checkups as she had been my patient since the death of her husband. Sometimes she would bring with her and show me proudly photos of her Bangladeshi children, grandchildren actually. One day, the year after KW's last missionary trip, as I was leaving the hospital after evening rounds, he was rushed to the emergency room after having a sudden onset of severe crushing chest pain. By the time he arrived in the ambulance, he suffered a cardiac arrest. And I had the misfortune or uncomfortable experience of resuscitating him. I don't know who was the nurse with me. He had suffered another acute myocardial infarction after dinner. Gilbert Doolittle, you know who that is. The internist and I helped the ER physician in the CPR, and after working on him for almost half an hour, we resuscitated him. However, tragically, because of the long time taken to revive him, he suffered irreversible brain damage from ischemia. We airlifted him to the University Medical Center in the state capital, where he was found brain dead. He was in the medical ICU on a respirator and vasopressor pressure for almost a week. Hang on, it's coming to the end, not that long. Until he was taken off the life support and allowed to pass on. I was asked to be one of his pallbearers at his funeral. You'll remember that, I suppose. In the newsletter of that month, I wrote a eulogy for him. In the article, I told of his sometimes grouchiness. He was grouchy. And sometimes a dry humor. I told of his adherence to his faith and discipline. Since he was an ordained minister before becoming a surgeon, he took offense if people told dirty jokes or naughty jokes in front of him. Dirty jokes. Yeah. They heard a lot of those. In front of him, especially those with a little sex implication. So he could do that. You know. Unfortunately or traditionally, I don't know if it is appropriate for me to say even here today, surgeons do that on the operating table a lot with patients asleep. If you watch B.J. Honeycutt or Hawkeye Pierce on MASH, you know what I mean. You know what I'm talking about. We all knew KW, so we never did that in his presence out of respect for him. One time, as we were both on the operating table, I told the nurse anesthetist, I'm not calling Leroy Kukura, you know who Leroy is.
I don't believe a damn bit of this stuff.
I'm not used to hugging a man in public. But so good to see you, David. I was afraid you were busy. I was reading about a friend of Dr. Seaton's by the name of K.W. Connery. Now, where we were. One time as we were both on the operating table, I told the nurse anesthetist, Leroy Kukura, I just call him Leroy. He used to call my dog Leroy.
Yeah, I remember.
So Leroy Kukura. Then I had a funny dirty joke to tell him later after the good doctor left. KW said nonchalantly, it's all right with me, but the Lord is listening. I never got to tell Leroy the story. The joke after I finished, I still had my Christian faith, then I couldn't. Afterwards, he said, the Lord is listening. I had nurses come to me and tell me that they cried when they read the eulogy that I wrote for KW. Kind-hearted and devout Christians. If they were really angels among us, KW and his wife would qualify as two. One more short paragraph, the fun part. Let me find out. This is about deer cat. I was born and raised in Hong Kong, which is a big metropolis. And I never hunted or fished like everybody did here. And I came here and everybody introduced me and made kind of ran it out of me. So but I enjoy it. So here's a short paragraph about the deer camp experience. As much as we enjoy our activities in such an environment, the deer camp, With primitive accommodation well away from civilization, we knew the comfort of modern living was not to be expected. Even the simple physical needs of nature, you know what it is. For us all being men, number one, as people all call it, was indeed a minor problem, which could be solved readily behind a tree or in front of a bush, etc. However, we were all advised to use the outhouse for the other major deal. Not unexpectedly, my first experience of the facility turned out to be a quite memorable experience. The first day I wasn't really in the mood as I looked at the small wooden building standing lonely over the embankment, quite a distance from the cabin. The other side dropped down at least 20 feet to the river. It was on the embankment. The shady building, the shaky building, was propped up and reinforced by wooden poles on all sides. So after 2 days, I really could not resist the call of nature anymore. The second evening, after dinner, I had to pay the visit. Jim Pinkett, my good friend that hosts the deer camp, comforted me by saying, "John, he said, well, this time in winter, you probably won't step on a snake. Just bring a flashlight and watch your steps," he says. Laughing out loud, he added, "Just don't fall into it or we'll never let you come back to the camp." It wasn't easy, I swear, for somebody who had never done it. I even found it hard to explain to somebody who hadn't seen one or used it. Any of you seen or use an outhouse? I was in total darkness and had to hold a flashlight to see.
In your mouth.
Yeah. Of course, there was no toilet seat. Inside there was a large hole in the wooden floor, which I can see dropped down several feet to the other side of the embankment. 2 large wood boards were nailed to each side of the hole as footboards together. The smell was the least pleasant from previous visitors. So in the bitter cold, I was fully dressed with thermal underwear and a large loose overall with long sleeves in tall boots up to here. In all that restrictive garment, I could only unzip my overall, drop it down below my thigh, about to here, and conducted my business in a very tight, semi-squatting position. With one hand holding onto the handle on one wall to steady myself so I won't fall in, and the other hand holding up all the clothes so it won't drop down and soak up the undesirable. I was in total darkness. There was a flashlight in my mouth. One hand on the rail, the other hand holding this and spotlight in my mouth, and semi-squatting. The finishing, now the best is to come. The finishing touch was especially awkward. I had to let go of the handle, to work with one hand while balancing myself not to fall. I completed the job without any problem, but it was an experience never to be forgotten.
Very good.
Well, I really appreciate you all very much. I want to, well, Rob is not here. I appreciate very much Harris Hospital giving me a chance to come back to talk about the book, but that's not the important part. The important part is I get to see everybody again that I missed so much. All my colleagues, my friends. This is the nicest place. You know, the reason people ask me, why do you write a book? I took up, by the way, I took up writing the last 3 years. When Harris Hospital took over my practice, I got a lot of time, so I started writing. And so far, I've written 4 books now. This is the first one published. I got to fly, you know, I got 3 more completed already, but they're going to be out in print. Amazon.com in the next couple of months, hopefully. But this is only one in print right now.
Dr. Poon, tell me about the first one that you wrote.
Well, I just read out, no, I'm just reading, you know. There are 3 that I've written, is completed. One is called Letters to My Departed Father. My dad's been dead 23 years. And I started writing this 3 years ago on the 20th anniversary of his death. I was visiting him so much. We were very close. And I left Hong Kong in 1965 when I was 19. And I've been writing to him all the time. So the day, 3 years ago, on his death anniversary, I was visiting him so much. And suddenly I thought, well, I'll write him like I used to a dead father. So I wrote a total of 60 letters. And I put it together. I haven't published it the last 3 years. And I think I was putting in my journal. But then I said, well, I just published it as a tribute to my father. So